Welcome to another tips and tutorial video brought to you by my channel Real Fine Fishing. Let's get to it. In a previous video I discussed how to tie a knot. That being the most important part about fishing, the second most important part is choosing your line. Now there are many different types of line. There's monofilament, fluorocarbon, and braid. Now there are other lines like wire and fly fishing, but these three are the most common. So getting right into it, monofilament. This is the most used line while fishing because it is the cheapest and it's pretty reliable. But the characteristics of this line varies differently from the other two. Monofilament is made with polymers, which turns into nylon. Nylon is water absorbent and it's less dense, so it floats. It is also considered to have very high memory characteristics, meaning when it's sitting on your spool, it will keep that memory of it being spooled. That's not exactly great. So changing out your monofilament line regularly is crucial. Another aspect of monofilament is that it comes in a wide variety of colors. However, the variety of colors is all dependent on the color's water stain. Monofilament is more visible than the other lines. Monofilament isn't UV resistant, so if there is sunlight, it will reflect those colors, making it like a shiny or a sparkle. Monofilament does tend to get weak based on temperature differences. If it's too hot, it'll become weak. If it's too cold, it'll become brittle. But being that it floats, it's perfect for topwater lures like this frog. It'll be sitting on the surface of the water at all times, giving you great motion. Now, fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon is a chemical compound that's put together to create a line. This line is non-porous, so it does not absorb water. It is also more dense than monofilament, so it sinks. This line is UV protected, so it does not shine, and it's very, very clear underwater. It has much less stretch than a monofilament line, giving you a better rod tip action, meaning you can detect bites a little bit easier than you would with monofilament. Fluorocarbon is a little more expensive than monofilament, but it holds its value with durability and reliability. Fluorocarbon is also great when used as a leader. A leader is a section of line that is attached to a different line. People are most familiar with using a steel leader tied to a monofilament line when used for pike fishing, muskie fishing. And the reason for fluorocarbon being a great leader, it is much less abrasive than monofilament and even braid. Also, with fluorocarbon being much more dense, it is better to use fluorocarbon when using Senkos and worms. Now on to braid. Braid is a sequence of fibers that are woven together to create a strong and durable line. This line is also less dense like the monofilament, so it does float. However, the visibility is very high. Braid is usually used in a topwater scenario where lily pads and a lot of structure is involved. A great pro of using braid is when you get hung up, you're more likely to get your lure back just because of how strong this line is. A great characteristic of braid is when you use a 30-pound test, which is the weight capacity. The diameter of the line is very small. So you can take a 30-pound test braided line, but it only has a diameter of an 8-pound monofilament line. So to sum it up, monofilament, more water absorbent, less dense, the cheapest, comes in a variety of colors, and does hold up in strength. And then you have your fluorocarbon, which is more dense, non-porous, low stretch, virtually invisible underwater, and can be used as a leader. And then you have your braided line, which is much stronger than the other two, has a smaller diameter, it does float, which is great for top water, and can be used with most knots. So when choosing your line, it's all dependent on what you are doing. If you are using Senkos or even jerkbaits, fluorocarbon is probably your best bet. If you are using topwater lures or even crankbaits, monofilament is probably your best option. And if you're fishing in heavy weeded areas, braided line is the way to go. And here's the tip of the day. This tip is to follow up with the different uses of line. Here I have this graph sourced out from bassfishingandcatching.com. As you can see the different colors of monofilament compared to the fluorocarbon in the middle, it shows the visibility of these different colors of line at its depths. So my tip is to inspect the water's color and its depth. So if you're fishing in shallow waters, you don't want to use a bright colored line because it doesn't change colors into contrast. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Also, if there's a subject about fishing that you would like me to discuss, also leave that in the comments below. Thanks again, and I hope you have a real fine day.